The first cover of Trader Monthly was Andy Preston. He's leaning against a beautiful classic car, and he has a beautiful model. The beautiful model's looking at him. He's leaning up against the car, and he's looking at you. And the message was loud and clear. You either are me or you should be me.
Every single woman at CNBC has now invited you to come into the studio and do an interview in person if you're ever down in our neck of the woods.
I think clearly there was a fundamental shift happening on Wall Street attitudinally, and that shift could best be categorized as a full embracement of conspicuous consumption.
Yachts, Rolls Royces, bottles of champagne, sort of pouring from the sky.
They were living the kind of life that was out of a Fitzgerald novel with 4 more zeros tacked on the end. It was incredible.
Trader Monthly was very much about that image.
Trader Monthly always struck me as appealing to the under 30 set primarily. And everyone that I knew that read it, like this is what everyone said about it. That rag Trader Monthly, like no one wanted to admit they actually read it, except everyone did, because it was in a lot of ways kind of a gossip rag, and there was all this, party stuff in it and all these great ads.
We wanted to have sizzle, we wanted to be exciting, and reporting on what some people considered a rather dull profession, right? Because historically Wall Street's been pretty gray and dull. We did a piece on who spent the most at lunch or dinner on their expense account. That seemed a little excessive and a little like shoving it in America's face, that some guy would go to lunch and drop $9,000 and $2,000 of it was for a bottle of wine.
We would show a diamond that's worth like $1 million and say, this is what to give your wife when you cheat on her.
In terms of trying to figure out who traders were, it was kind of like I felt like Jane Goodall looking at chimpanzees.
It was only when the 30 under 30 issue came out. That was the turning point.
So you have guys in their 20s and 30s making incredible amounts of money. They acted like 28-year-olds would if they made $10 million a year. They went crazy.
So there were always colorful characters around.
I met, paralegals, I met secretaries, I met people in fashion. Oh my God, you're a trader? You work on Wall Street?
The best of the best became average.
These guys moved at a pace that I'd never seen before. There was nothing sacrosanct. What did I do last night? I'll tell you all about it.
The events were fun. I had a great time. I was single.
Take all power and all freedoms away from the people and collect everything into the hands of one small group with absolute power.
Glass-Steagall was formed after the Depression because the government decided that banks shouldn't mix various, banking and investment businesses. The rest of the American banking industry came to President Clinton and said,
Too much regulation on Wall Street. Let's let Wall Street banks own Main Street banks. And they'll be more efficient together and bigger, and prices will come down for consumers. What a great idea.
So you had this kind of crazy, lunatic, thought-mongering and abracadabra alchemy being practiced in long gowns and crazy hats and stirring pots.
And it became very easy to raise money from wealthy investors, very easy to raise money from institutional investors. Everybody who's ever made money in the stock market starts starting a hedge fund because they think they're geniuses.
These kind of barons were eating their cake. There seemed to be a lot of crumbs that were falling on the floor that we could pick up.
There was a reason why we created Glass-Steagall. We decided that we didn't need that reason anymore.
What I failed to grasp, and what too many others failed to grasp, was the ramifications that came with that.